Hello gamers! Do you spend the first 30 minutes in a new game setting up your key bindings, or do you just roll with the defaults? The first big thing people notice about my key bindings is that I do not use WASD. Every time I play a new game, I kinda wish I did because it's a huge pain to change my keys every single game. So what do I use? ESDF. That's right, I move over just one key. So you might wonder, what is the point of changing my keys for such a small adjustment? Well, it all began many years ago when I played a game called Tribes 2. It was never a hugely popular game, at least not by today's standards. But what was so odd about this game is that the key bindings by default were ESDF. And I don't know, maybe all the early adopters of this setup were once Tribes players. There's two major advantages to using ESDF, three if you're an MMORPG player. The first is that it opens up a few more keys for bindings. Up until about a year ago, W was my push to talk. I haven't started binding a lot of things to that yet, but for the time being, I don't use push to talk. It's too hard in games like Fortnite or Warzone to take a finger off a movement key to press my push to talk. And I also noticed that I'm a lazy push to talker, which means I clip the end of what I'm saying. A lot. And as I started clipping videos to share on YouTube, that became kind of annoying. If you use WASD, then you really only have Q as a real viable option for key bindings. But move over one key and you now have W and A as well. Maybe it's not a lot, but here's where it might make the difference for an MMORPG player. Moving your hand over one key makes it that much easier to hit some of those higher number keys. If you're like me and you have child-sized hands, being that much closer to number keys you may need may mean the difference between wiping your raid or saving your teammate. So what's the second major advantage? This comes down to how well you know how to type. I've noticed that in more recent years, more and more people don't really know how to type. Instead, it's more like hunt and peck. If that's your style, no judgment here. But if you type correctly, then you know where the home row is and you know where your hands are supposed to go on the keyboard. If you put your pointer finger on the home row now, that's F and J for those of you not familiar, you'll notice that those keys have a small bump on them. These are guides to let you know that your fingers are on the correct keys without having to look down. Now add in a gamer and you probably play in a dimly lit or totally dark room. So being able to tell by feel if your fingers are on the right keys is definitely an advantage. I personally don't consciously notice the bump, but if my fingers aren't on the correct keys, I instantly notice. And finally, not really a key binding, but still a crucial part of your gaming setup, the mouse. If you're an OG gamer, a true OG gamer, then you probably know where I'm going with this. Reverse mouse. Some of you probably don't even know what I'm talking about, but old school games by default used reverse mouse, meaning that when I pull the mouse toward me, I look up, and when I push the mouse away from me, I look down. Try playing a game with inverted Y-axis on your mouse. Most, if not all, of the early online games used reverse mouse or inverted Y-axis by default. I'm a firm believer that this has slowly gone away as more and more players use controllers or swap to keyboard and mouse from a controller where inverting the Y-axis doesn't make much sense. I can't be the only person here who has unique or weird settings that they prefer. I know many gamers also just use the default settings and just go right on into a game without even looking at the key bindings. What type of gamer are you? If you use a unique setup, tell us what it is in the comments below and explain why you use that setup. You never know, maybe you'll inspire some of us to make changes. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It really does help. And as always, happy gaming.